Before I get on with today's video, I just want to tell you my Regen Rovers shirts have arrived. This is the away shirt with the nice gold sash. This is the back. You can have your own name and number on the back. And of course I bought all three, the home, away and the third shirt. I'll put pictures up on the screen right now. If you do want to buy your own Regen Rovers shirt, I'll put the link in the description below. Really pleased with them actually. It's going to be my uniform for the rest of the series. They do deliver worldwide, but wherever you live you do have to be patient. They take 6 weeks to arrive. I think they're quite a reasonable price for like a sports shirt. It is like a quite lightweight sports material. And like I said, you can put your name and a number on the back, and that's no extra cost as well, which I think is pretty cool. So let's get into things. This is my first Regen Rovers recap, which is another little side series alongside the main series. This is probably going to be hopefully watched by most people because I'll be recapping the entire season, but it's really good for people that might not have the time to watch an entire season of all my episodes and just want to get a flavour of what Regen Rovers is about. In this video I will be analysing the performances this year, looking at player stats, looking at records, looking at who won player of the season, that sort of thing. And at the end of the video I'll also be doing an Ask the Manager. I'll be answering a few questions that you guys have sent in throughout season 1. This is how our first season with Regen Rovers finished, and we just about survived. If you missed episode 8, you missed a treat because that was dramatic. Not quite Dr. Jones dramatic for those of you that watched the first series, but it was dramatic nonetheless. We lost 7 games in a row heading into those final 2 games. Morgan Fawkes was our hero against Basingstoke, and we stayed up just about. Met Police went down in. I mean, there was 5 points in it, but it looked really hairy going into those last 2 games. I was almost certain that we were going to go down. Overall, I guess it's where we were expected. Well, we weren't. We were expected to finish bottom, but it's where I kind of expected us to finish, just above that relegation zone. Deja vu with the first series. I just can't quite believe how similar it was, except we're in the tier below, of course. So 11 wins, 8 draws, 23 losses, 60 goals scored, sort of mid-table in terms of goals scored, as you can see there. In regards to defence, 3rd worst defence. I'm not surprised by that, because we were all over the place at the back. We've got a long way to go before we can start building to try and get promoted. It might be a couple seasons down the line, unless I pull off incredible signings in the transfer window, or some of our youth academy players just progress amazingly in a short space of time. But I'm not sure that's going to happen, considering our training facilities are awful. I don't have very good coaches. Yeah, this is a tough challenge, but it's an enjoyable challenge. I will continue a few weeks to see what happens in the playoffs. Basically 16 teams have gone into like this mini competition. I'm not sure if this is how it's done in real life. I don't think it is, but it's the best way that it could be sorted, I suppose, on this particular database. Only 2 teams go through from the 16 teams that have made it into the 4 division playoffs. So there's 4 tiers at this level. All the champions go up, so 4 teams go up automatically. Then there's only 2 spaces left for which will be fought out by these 16 playoff teams. So it's quite an exciting mini competition. Morgan Fawkes is already on the favoured personnel. He's only on loan, but he's a club hero. 24 goals this season. I love this guy. He is so good, and I have to try and get him either permanently, and if not, if he signs a new contract with Dartford, then I probably will only be able to get him on loan, because Dartford are a tier above. They're in the National League South. It's going to be difficult to entice them to us. In fact, they might be getting promoted because they finished 2nd in the National League South. That might be good news for us if they get promoted, because Morgan Fawkes might be not at that level. So yeah, we'll have to see. He's incredible, isn't he? Still half-star reputation after the first season, by the way. It's going to take a lot of time to increase. I imagine we'll probably be predicted to finish bottom next year as well. It's going to be really tough. I have asked Jack Young, our owner, our chairman, for improved facilities, but apparently the financial situation isn't the best. I mean, it doesn't look too bad here, but I'm not able to increase any training facilities, youth facilities, etc. I'm going to be asking for a parent club though, because it'd be good if we can get some loan players from a team slightly above us. So Morgan Fawkes has won Fans Player of the Season award, and he's also won your Twitter Player of the Season award. I put a poll on the Regen Rovers Twitter. If you don't follow Regen Rovers on Twitter, head over there, because it means you can take part in these polls every season. But yeah, he convincingly won that award. Aaron Trollope second on the Football Manager fans Player of the Season award with Sean Walker third. It was not actually that convincing. I thought Fawkes would get a bigger percentage than that, but I suppose Trollope, unsung hero in goal, played quite well. I think he got the third or second highest average rating. Sean Walker, third with 22%, not bad at all. We saw Joe Colbran win signing of the season, which is a little bit random, and young player of the season, Morgan Fawkes, as well. We'll have a look at the goal of the season from Tom Newell soon. I think that was probably a free kick, but of course he went on to leave. My goal of the season was either Morgan Fawkes' his volley against Basingstoke, or the Sean Walker bullet, which I showed you. That was a beautiful goal. This was the team of the season. So Trollope, Grigg, Sheff, Kirkwood, Brown, Matty Ratty, Sean Walker, Reaney, Higgs, Fawkes and Rigg. No massive surprises. I'm kind of surprised by Russell Higgs because he was terrible, but most of our left wingers were terrible. I'd have probably put John Parsons in there ahead of him though. But clearly Fawkes was our superior player this year. Sean Walker contributed as well. Sheff, most appearances, but terrible average rating. Let's have a look at Tom Newell's goal of the season then. Surely the free kick. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful curled free kick. Maybe the keeper should have done a little bit better. This is an interesting angle from out wide. We get to see Tiverton Stadium. I should have a look at Regen Rovers Stadium from high up, shouldn't I? See what it looks like. Those are the stats then. Just a few key stats. Kelvin Morrow, best pass completion. That is quite random. Most yellow cards went to Ray Rigg, 10 yellow cards. We had 6 players sent off this season. We'll have a look at things in a bit more detail now. I did show it at the end of episode 8, but let's just have a look at some more of the players. So I've stuck all of the senior team, under 23s and under 18s into this team because there were players from the youth level teams that took part as well. But yeah, Sheff made the most appearances. Morgan Fawkes, 44 appearances from him, 3 off the bench. Sean Walker, 41. Robin Grigg, highly involved in this season, but really didn't play very well, did he? There's positions I need to improve. I'll have a chat about that in a bit. In fact, let's do it now. I mean, I need to improve the centre backs. I need to improve right back. I probably need to bring in some midfielders because I don't know whether I'll be able to get Sean Walker back. If I can't get Fawkes back, that is a disaster. We might have a worse team next year if I can't convince players to sign for me. But I did convince some new players to sign just before episode 8, so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we'll sign some interesting players in the summer. So goals wise, Morgan Fawkes, 24 goals. What a legend. Sean Walker with 11, Ray Rigg with 6, Matty Ratty with 4. But the goals really were, players got involved, but they weren't shared around massively. It really was heavily reliant on Fawkes. If we didn't have him, it would have been horrific this season, wouldn't it? Morrow, Reynolds and Winter and John Parsons got 2 each. And Morrow and Reynolds, they hardly played really. They were mainly playing for the under 18s and 23s this season. Assists wise, Ray Rigg top with 12, Matty Ratty with 8, Fawkes with 7, Sean Walker with 5. We've got Robin Grigg getting 4 assists. He was probably better going forwards than he was at the back, even though he's only got about 4 on crossing, I think. Higgs and Parsons picked up 3 each. Man of the match wise, Fawkes top with Walker, then Ratty with 2, then... we very rarely picked up the Man of the Match award when 2 teams came up against each other. It was usually the opposition, wasn't it? But Fawkes picked up 5, which isn't bad at all. So average rating wise, ignore the top 2. They only played in cup games. I know some people seem to like Gagalvin, or Jagalvin as it should be. But we've now got Trollope ahead of him and Okoro. So his playing time's going to be limited. That's for sure. But you never know, he might improve and become a sub-keeper at some point. Perhaps he'll replace Trollope eventually. Trollope is 22, which is still young for a goalkeeper, but I love this guy. He's been good for us, but Okoro will surely be number 1 next year because he is the better goalkeeper. And although he didn't have the best end of the season, a pre-season under his belt, getting used to the team, I expect him to be our best player. In goal, that is anyway. He conceded 16 goals in 5 games. That's not good. No clean sheets. How many clean sheets did Trollope get? He only got 3 clean sheets in 37 games. It just shows how bad our defence was. Jagalvin picked up... he only conceded 2 goals in... So 5 goals in 3 games. No clean sheets. Only 4 clean sheets in the under-23s from 76 goals conceded. So he's not much better. He's just managed to get a decent average rating because of the cup games he took part in. But getting back to the point, Fawkes was the top average rating from the players that actually played. Trollope next, Sean Walker. Then there's a big jump down. That's the quality. These 3 are the most consistent. And I wouldn't even say Fawkes and Walker were consistent players. They just had some really good games which boosted their average rating, in particular Walker. I mean, Fawkes was relatively consistent. 24 goals in 44 games is not bad at all. It's kind of what I would expect or hope for. Walker, he scored a hat-trick. He had probably 4 outstanding games in the season, which must have boosted his average rating quite significantly. But yeah, massive jump down to these players in the 6.7s. Moreau, Reynolds are 2 strikers in there. Coro, even though he didn't play particularly well in those 5 games. Mullen, he was not great, was he? But he actually got a better average rating than Matty Ratty, who I much preferred. Interesting. Food for thought. We need to improve our performances overall. Our most expensive player, or highly valued player, there's a few worth £4,500. Patrick Malone, our new Northern Irish striker. Agu, our new Nigerian striker, or English/Nigerian striker. Ray Rigg, Matty Ratty, and Dave Reynolds. They're all worth £4,500. Fawkes was all the way down here, but that's good. It might be because his contract's about to run out, but I imagine he'll be given a new contract. I'm going to take a look at some player stats then in regards to the league. So Morgan Fawkes, 22 goals in the league, meant he was joint 7th top goal scorer in his 40 league games. His average minute per goal, not bad, 150.36, a long way behind this chap, Ashley Pope. That's very impressive. 56 shots though, and he scored 22 goals. Don't think that's too bad, is it? Distance covered per 90 minutes. Russell Higgs and John Parsons up there. That is pretty random. Let's go to the detailed statistics. Player of the match. Don't know where he's not on that list. Fawkes. Distance covered. That's for the entire season though. This chap ran 525 kilometres this season. That's the distance covered per 90 minutes. So these two, Russell Higgs and Parsons, are obviously hard working. Work rate 11. Only work rate 7, but they ran a long way for us. Matty Ratty, we've got players that ran. That is for sure. I mean, Sean Walker's up there. Average rating, we're not going to be on there. Oh, Morgan Fawkes is 18th best average rating in the league. There he is, goals-wise. Average minutes per goals, he's 9th best. Not bad at all. Shots. So he's quite far down in regards to shots. So he was quite good. I mean, at scoring from the number of shots he had. Shots on target, 56 shots on target. There we go. Shots on target percentage, he's the 5th best. So that's that 14 on finishing. More often than not, he's hitting his shots on target, which is really good. He's got a really good conversion rate of 26%. This chap is brilliant. He really is. If we go down to assists, Ray Rigg, joint 6th with 12 assists in the league. So all of his assists this season were in the league. 29 key passes, 71% pass completion rate. Key passes, is he on there? Sean Walker's on there. So we've got players featuring. Some individual performance weren't bad. We're never going to finish on the defending ones, are we? But maybe goalkeepers if we go down. Conceded. So, yeah, I mean, Trollope's on there, but there's not so many goalkeepers. Clean sheets, he's not on the list at all. Saves held, though. He's the 5th for the saves held. 93 saves held. Saves parried, he's 2nd. I don't know if saves parried is necessarily good. I mean, as long as there's a parry and there's a parry knocking it out of safety, away from like the danger zone, great. A parry straight into the path of a striker, not great. So I don't really know about this statistic as to what it actually means. The good thing about starting from scratch with this club, creating it on the editor, is that all the records are new. So you can see most league goals scored by a player. Currently Morgan Fawkes, of course. Most overall goals by a player, Fawkes. Most league appearances, Jeremy Cook best, etc, etc. Youngest player, Willie Young. 15 years and 233 days. Oldest player is currently Jeremy Cook best. Fastest goal for Morgan Fawkes in 5 minutes and 7 seconds. Hopefully we can improve upon that. That's not exactly the quickest goal in the world. Most goals in a match. We've had 2 hat-tricks, but Sean Walker did it first, so I suppose that's why he's on that list. It's going to be interesting to see how this develops. We've only ever managed to win 2 games in a row. That's the maximum. Most matches without losing is 4, and obviously the most matches lost in a row was at 7. Awful 7 games. But we actually managed to go 8 games without winning back in August-September time, and we've only managed to go 1 game without conceding. No clean sheets in a row so far. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this develop over time. Highest attendance, by the way, was against Tiverton in the FA Cup second qualifying round. So FA Cup games, getting in the fans, getting some cash for almost $5,000 for that match. And our lowest attendance was the Hampshire Senior Cup second round. No one cares about that, but I do. I mean, it's a nice local competition. 118 turned up for that, and we'll see this build up as well. I mean, our highest league position this season was 6th. We never got higher than that. The lowest was 20th, which isn't too bad. We were never in the bottom 2 for the entire season. So that's pretty cool. Now, average attendance this season was 212. That's a good start. We can build upon that. Biggest wins, 3-0. Biggest defeat, 5-1 against Salisbury. Highest scoring match, 3-4 against Poole. Highest scoring league match, that's going to be the same. I love this records tab because you can just see so much and see it build up over the years. So I'll just quickly show you a few competitions. So the Southern League Cup, one of the local competitions that we're in, was won by Stourbridge, beating Salisbury on penalties. Not bad that, because Salisbury are a powerful team. I don't know where Stourbridge are. They're in the same tier as us, but in the Central Division. The Hampshire Senior Cup was won by Farnborough. Cracking game. They managed to beat Aldershot on penalties after a 3-3 draw. The FA Cup won by Man United. League Cup won by Manchester City. Charity Shield won by Chelsea. Football League Trophy won by Scunthorpe, beating Wimbledon. Hopefully won't be too long before we're taking part in that. I think it's going to be a long time before we're in the Football League, I'm afraid. FA Trophy. Now, I'm using a database that doesn't have the early qualifying rounds of the FA Trophy, so I think it's kind of toss of a coin whether we actually get through to the first qualifying round. The first one that's shown is the third qualifying round. I think in real life, our teams, my level, Tier 7, was starting the second qualifying round, so I think it's just random as to whether we get through to the third qualifying round or not. I didn't fix that before starting the save. It's not the end of the world. When we get to the next division up, that won't be a problem because we're just starting the third qualifying round anyway. But Billericay beat Eastleigh in the final, so my local team, currently Eastleigh, and one of my old local teams from back home when I used to live in Chelmsford, Billericay, managing to win it. Are people interested in seeing these things? I know it's not really relevant to us at the moment, but it's a season review. I'm just showing you what's happened. Man City won the Premier League. If you're not interested in this, then you can let me know, but I'm sure there'll be people that are interested, so you can always skip this bit. But Aston Villa, Birmingham promoted. In fact, there's probably no point showing this until I've skipped ahead a little bit and shown who's won the playoffs. Right, I've moved ahead. I've played ahead until the 24th of June. I've got my face out the way so you can see the whole table, but you can see Aston Villa, Birmingham and Preston promoted from the Championship. Swansea relegated. That's a bit of a shock. League 1 won by Portsmouth with Barnsley and Bristol Rovers going up. League 2 won by MK Dons, Northampton, Mansfield and Cambridge United getting promoted. This is interesting because this could have a bearing on our future seasons, because if teams are relegated to the National League, we might encounter them sooner rather than later. Barnet and Leyton Orient promoted from this division. National League North won by Southport. Leamington Spa promoted. Remember, it's the playoff spaces all the way down to 7th place now, I think, because there's 6 teams that go into the playoffs. Curzon Ashton, FC United and Hereford relegated. I don't know whether Hereford might drop into our tier. They're quite, they're not southern, but I think there's a few problems with FM19 with regionality, so we might have an interesting story in this particular parallel universe where we might get a northern team falling into our division, and they might have to go a long way to every game, and so will we occasionally. So that would be interesting if that happens. National League South, Billericay and Dulwich promoted, with Slough, Gloucester and Hungerford relegated. Hungerford should be on our region, I think, and Slough. But I don't know, they might fall into the central region, possibly even Gloucester actually, because they're sort of southwest, aren't they? So they might come into our division. So this is when we get to our tier, 7th tier. This is the Isthmian League Premier Division, kind of the eastern, southeast and east region is the Isthmian League, I think. So Bishop Stortford and Kingstonian, they were promoted, so they're one of the teams that went up via the playoffs. Burgess Hill, Potters Bar and Wingate relegated. If we go down, this is the Northern Premier League, so only one team promoted from this, so none of the playoff teams managed to win their finals. We then have Kettering and Stourbridge going up from the Premier Central section, which does mean that no team came up from our division. Only Salisbury promoted from our division. Then you've got the 8th tier. Do I show the 8th tier? I've actually opened up the 9th tier, and I'm also unlocking Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland and Wales. Although I can see those players because I loaded them, I'm interested to see those divisions and have better access to those players. And eventually I'll probably open up some other divisions, maybe some South American teams, some other European nations, just so we can get a bit more of a mix of players coming into the team. But at the moment, I'm not going to be able to sign a Brazilian, for example. Anyway, this is the 8th tier. Cray and Ashford United getting promoted. We might see some of these teams come into our division. Malden and Tiptree, mentioned them of course earlier in the series. AFC Sudbury promoted. We've got Morpeth and Tadcaster getting promoted. Bromsgrove Sporting and Bedford, Bideford and Totton. They're local. they might go into they should go into our league, but in theory, unless it all gets messed up and they go somewhere else, of course, but they should in theory go into our division. Ramsbottom, great name for a place, isn't it? And then you're in the 9th tier, but I will unlock these for the next season, so we'll be able to see those in a bit more detail. And I'll just quickly scroll down the results, because some of you may have not watched our first season in detail, so you can have a look at some of the results, the attendance figures, the goal scorers. So I'll just scroll down slowly, but you'll see Morgan Fawkes featuring there a lot, of course. Sean Walker as well. The attendance figures, I mean, there's some impressive ones from when we went away from home. 639 people turning up for a tier 7 games, not bad at all. But overall, it's, low hundreds, isn't it, looking at this. Kings Langley, people keep saying I'm saying Kings Landing. No, I'm saying Kings Langley. 97 people, that's pretty pathetic for that game. They won 3-0 as well. They must be quite a small team to only be getting that number. Salisbury are the kings of this division, and they deservedly got promoted. Lots of people turning up for the last day of the season, spurring us on to safety. Plumbing Park, love it. Our under-23s and under-18s play here as well, so there's a hell of a lot of games. Pitch condition very good though. This is a new stadium, so it should be in tip-top. Which way round is it? Tip-top condition. I do just want to say thank you for the support on episode 8. It was my first YouTube premiere of the series, which is a pre-recorded video shown as if it's live. A bit like TV, I suppose, and you were reacting in the chat. I absolutely loved the chat. It made me laugh a lot, made me smile a lot. I just loved the interaction going on and you reacting to what was happening on the screen before you. It was just funny and just so much fun. So I will be doing that more often, especially for big moments like relegation battles, promotion, playoff things, big games possibly. There were problems with YouTube Premiere. I think there still are, which is why I was originally intending to do every episode as a premiere, but I don't think that's wise. We'll just have big moments as YouTube premieres, and those of you that are around to watch it at 5 o'clock can watch it and get involved in the chat. So let's see what you guys thought about episode 8 in today's Fan Corner. George the cat has come to make his first appearance of the series. Haven't you, George? Hello. Say hello. Meow. Okay, maybe not. He just wants to sit on my lap. Why aren't you asleep? Yeah, I know. That's a microphone, George. You can make as much noise as you want into it. What I do want to tell you about is the spreadsheet that I've put together. Of course, we've got all the players on here. I'm going to update this, showing the players that have left and the players that have stayed and players that are joining the team, but I'll put a link in the description below so you can see that that updated list on the Google spreadsheet view. But I've also put a sheet together on my Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to document over the series what happens, just so I've got it easy to hand. So the position we finish, goals, points, etc., most appearances, top 3 goal scorers, top 3 assists, top 3 average ratings, player of the season, and then also the Twitter winner. So yeah, I'm going to document that throughout the series. So to celebrate the end of the first season and off George goes, and to celebrate 50,000 YouTube subscribers, I thought I'd do a special Ask the Manager where we do a few more questions from you guys, the ones that have been asked in the first season. I do want to do a special video for 50k, but I'm not entirely sure what yet. I've got a couple ideas, but it might take a few days for me to actually get it sorted. But yeah, Ask the Manager. Let's get on with it. So many questions. So many people have used the hashtag ATM. I can search on my YouTube comments history for anything hashtag ATM. So if you do want to ask me a question for future Ask the Managers, make sure you use that. I'm not going to put the screenshots up today because that takes a bit of time and I want to get through as many questions as possible. First one, bit random, from Damien Hills. Do you watch cricket by any chance? I don't watch cricket. I used to watch cricket. When it used to be on Channel 4, I used to watch it on my granny and granddad's on their bed, strangely enough, but they had a little TV upstairs and I'd watch the cricket with my granddad and my sister would watch cartoons downstairs. But I enjoy listening to cricket every now and then. I'm a massive fan of Alistair Cook and I'm sad to see him retire from England duty, but being from Essex, I know he's not from Essex, but he's an Essex batsman and came through the ranks and ended up playing for England, of course. So I was a massive fan of him. So I probably won't listen to it as much now because I was more of a fan of him rather than actual cricket, strangely enough. Cough Sneeze has asked me, are you posh? I'm not posh. I'm from Essex, innit? I'm quite well spoken, I know, but it's probably influenced from my wife, who's from Hampshire. A really nice part of Hampshire. But yeah, no, I tried to be. I tried to be understandable. I definitely don't have a typical Essex accent. There's a little bit of a twang there, and my mum definitely sounds a bit more Essex, I suppose, and maybe my sister and other people. My dad is more of like a traditional Northern Essex accent, which is it's sort of Suffolk Essex. It's interesting. Everyone thinks of Essex accent. You think of Towie, you think of estuary English. Like Southend and London, and the proper Essex accent's very different. It's more like the Northern Essex accent. It's been influenced by London over the years, I suppose. But anyway, I'm quite neutral, I suppose. It's just, I wouldn't say I'm posh. I know some people think I'm posh, but I probably sound posh to someone from the north, or from like the southwest, or from Norfolk or something. But I'm kind of just got a standard English accent, I suppose. Edgelord Byron asks, what do they serve at the Regen Rovers canteen? Well, that's up to chef. Jeremy is our cook. He's the club cook as well as being our centre back. I think he's going to transition to being mainly club cook in the future. The Devil's Zone asks me, who do you think will realistically be able to replace Ronaldo and Messi after they retire? I don't think anyone will replace them in regards to the numbers that they've managed. Messi, for me, is my favourite player. He's the best for me. Ronaldo is an exceptional talent and he's worked so hard, but Messi's natural talent. This is how I liken it. Those of you like tennis. Messi is Federer. Ronaldo is Nadal. That's it for me. That's the comparison. Like, Federer's graceful, elegant. Same with Messi. Nadal, hard-working, power. That's Ronaldo. But Ronaldo is obviously an incredible player. But that's not the question. It's who will replace them. And I'd say I don't think anyone will. But if anyone's going to do it, it's Mbappe. Kurt Whitehead has asked me a Football Manager question. Where you start a new save, do you already have a style tactic that you want to implement on your team? Or determined by the squad you have? It's usually determined by the squad I have. Apart from the Being Bielsa series I did at the end of FM18, I wanted to play the Bielsa style at Leeds, so I implemented it, even though the players don't really fit the system. A bit like Bielsa's managed to get them to play his style, even though typically you wouldn't expect it from those players. But most of the time, I look at the players and think, what can we play? It's what I've done with Regen Rovers. It's like the most sensible thing to do. Over time, after the first season, when you're able to bring your own players in, then you perhaps can choose a style and fit the players to that system. Cullen McIntyre asks, what's the best Regen player you've ever had in your years of playing FM? Got to be Jack Young, hasn't it? Surely. He's my favourite. And at the actual best would probably be... Now I need to see if I can dig out the screenshot. There's a few. I've had some very good strikers, and you might think me a bit strange choosing to have a defender. I'll put the screenshot up now. Darren Holt. He was insane. His pace, his physicals for a centre-back were ridiculous. I signed him from Man United for £5 million because he fell out with Ferguson. And he turned into the best defender I've ever had. He turned into England, played for England. He was ridiculous. Such a good player. MP King asks, which team do I think will win the Premier League, English Premier League, I presume, this season? I'm going to not take a risk. I'm just going to go for Man City. Harry asks, how are you doing? I'm really happy. Yesterday was an incredible day. Firstly, 50,000 subscribers. Secondly, these shirts arrived. Thirdly, Regen Rovers stayed up. Jazza Mataz asked me, what is my favourite hobby outside of YouTube? This is literally my hobby. Playing Football Manager and making videos is essentially all I do now. I don't have time because I've got a full-time job, and the rest of the time I do this, and then other times I spend with my wife, Jenny. That's it. It sounds sad, but I've dedicated a hell of a lot of my life to this. I've been doing this 6.5 years. Getting emotional. It does mean a lot that 50,000 people have bothered to subscribe. Be nice if all of them watched every single video, but that's not realistic, of course. But yeah, will this become like my job, and then I'll be able to do other things as hobbies? I hope so. I've started to think about it and think maybe it's possible, but at this point I'm nowhere near the level where I can earn as much as I do from my regular day job. Luckily I work from home. For those of you that don't know, I work from home I work for a small business. It's all about sales data and stuff, and it's enabled me to continue doing this, because if I was commuting to work and back and the hours were like 8 till 6 or something, I just wouldn't have time to do YouTube. I'm able to record in the morning, maybe edit a video at lunchtime, upload it for the afternoon, and yeah, it's great. So hobbies outside of YouTube, spending time with my wife, but that's not really a hobby. It's just life. And going to interesting places and exploring England, southern England mainly, I suppose, because that's where we live. But I do want to see more of the world in the future. I do read, I suppose, not as much as Jenny. She's an absolute machine at reading. I play other PC games every now and then. Like, I occasionally get addicted, really addicted to Civilization every now and then. I've given Fortnite a go. I'm pretty useless. It's quite fun just to sit back and relax. Don't take it too seriously. Sounds weird. Geography. Geography stuff, like the world, like, you know, I've got a map there. I've got a globe, which you might be able to see. I did geography at university, so I have a love for that. I have a love for wildlife. I love birds, like bird watching. I really, I know it sounds really sad, but I really enjoy wildlife and going for walks. And we've got the woods near us, which is just lovely. So I just try and enjoy life as much as I can. But I've put in so much hard work into this channel. It's difficult to have like loads of hobbies, I suppose. And I'll finish with, I've answered some more questions in the future, of course, but I'm going to finish with Yellow Boy Plays. When do you think you will reach the Premier League? What year? I honestly don't know. I think we're going to be stuck at this level for maybe 3 or 4 years, possibly more. Let's go for 2030. Let's say 11 years. Can we do that? Realistically, at this present, you kind of start to improve though. Like that's what happened with the last series. Stuck at National League South, promoted, couple years, and then it suddenly just sped up, didn't it? We just got a couple successive promotions, and then it was just, you know, every other year we got promoted. Will that happen this time? Yeah, I hope so, but I do want it to be a challenge. I want it to be a journey. I want it to be a relatively realistic journey as well. So we'll see. Let's go with 2032. So I think we'll end it there. Thank you for watching the first Regen Rovers recap. I'm hoping the second season we'll have a slight improvement. We'll push on, maybe finish mid-table. Hopefully some exciting, maybe a cup run in the Hampshire Senior Cup or the Southern League Cup. I'm hoping for some new heroes, but hopefully Morgan Fawkes will continue to bang in the goals if we manage to get him back. Fingers crossed. If you did enjoy today's video, please leave a like. If you have any suggestions for things I can show in future recaps, I might have missed something. For example, facilities. I don't know if you want to see this. There's so much I could show. I mean, we don't have any affiliated clubs at the moment. There's stuff I can show over time. But if there's any suggestions you want me to show in the Regen Rovers recaps every season, let me know. But until next time, enjoy Football Manager 2019. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you very soon.